welcome back to the Hachette Disney crochet series of granny squares. We're now moving on to issue 30, which is the Donald and Daisy pink popcorn square, as you can see down here. Now, the reason everything looks a bit different, the lighting might look different. I'm obviously able to get the magazines, or the magazine sheets, I should say, not the whole magazine, in front of the camera, is because I've completely upgraded my lighting setup, and that's actually why I've been away for over a week since the last video. It's been a bit of a nightmare getting it right. I think I ordered 5 different products and had to return them all before I settled on what I've got now. Now, the last product that I used to film, and I'm wondering if I can show you this now. Let me see if I can just get it in front of the camera. This is it. It was literally a box. You can see my hand there. And it was absolutely tiny. If I get one of the granny squares, you can see it's not much bigger than that. So it was quite difficult to film from. The lights are at the top here. You can see it's electric. And it just really limited me with the kind of things that I could film. Purely because of how small that space was. And I've actually designed a pattern recently for an adult size cardigan, so I knew I had to upgrade what I was doing. So I've now got this full space of a whole desk in front of me, my lights are above, and I think it's working. So it just means that I can show you a whole lot more. So as I said, we are doing issue 30. Is that on camera? I can't see. Sorry, issue 30. And we are doing this square next, which is the Donald and Daisy pink popcorn square. As you can see from the picture, it is just using one colour. So the only colour change will be from when we do the white border. Now, the colours that we need are this one, which is the hibiscus, and then obviously the white for our border. So if you get them both ready, we obviously need our 4mm hook, and we can start the square. Let me just check what we're doing. So we're putting a slip knot onto our hook, and we're going to be doing some chains. So if you get that one ready onto your hook, we will start the square. Let's go. Just before we start filming with the square, I just want to discuss this product. It's called a wool genie, and it's literally something that I've discovered this week. Now, after being a crocheter for many, many years and stopping every couple of rows to unwind my wool, I can't believe I didn't know about this sooner. So I'll just show you how it works. This is magnetic, so it pulls down from the top, and then you would just put your ball of wool, the centre of it, over the top of this, and then you put it on here. You've then got your working yarn coming off of here, and as you're crocheting, you're pulling it. It unwinds. I think it's magical. I can't believe I didn't discover this sooner. So when I've been crocheting this week, everything's been going so much quicker and easier because I don't have to keep putting my work down to unwind my yarn ball. This is really smooth. The only thing that I will say is there's a couple of sizes where I've been making my cardigans out of super chunky wool. It's too big for this area. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to use it for that. But just for these small balls from Hachette, or even for your standard, I haven't got any around me to be able to pick up, for your standard balls that you'd buy from a shop that come with like 100 grams of wool, this is absolutely perfect. It's just when you start getting, I mean, I've got a ball of wool at the moment. I think it's about 600, 700 grams, and it's massive. It like, sorry, you can't even see my hand. It comes to like up here off the table, so there's no chance it's going on there. But yeah, I just wanted to show you this, just in case anyone wants to put it on their Christmas list. But the best thing about it is, it costs £13. Like, why did I not know about this sooner? I thought like things like this would have been about 50 quid. So amazing. I've now finally got one. And the best thing about it is if you're doing colour changes, because it's so cheap and only £13, you could have several of them all in a row, all with your different colours on. I think it's fantastic. I really recommend it. Just go get one. It will change your life, I promise. Right, onto the square. So I've got my yarn ready and I've got my 4mm hook as usual, and I'm going to make a slip knot like we have done for most of these squares, and then I'm going to put that one onto my hook. We then need to chain 5, so we're yarning over the back and towards the front, and then we're just pulling that loop through. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. We then need to join with a slip stitch in our first stitch, so you can see the V's. If you count back 5, there's our first, second, third, fourth and fifth just here. So I'm going to go in through this one and pull up a loop, so I've got 2 on my hook, and then I'm going to pull it straight through, and we've made a circle. And in the past, you know, we've done this. We pull apart on both sides so you can see the centre of the circle, and we're going to be working into that one. So we're chaining 4 to begin with. 1, 2, 3 and 4. We then want to do a treble into the centre of that circle. So for a treble, we're yarning over into the centre and pull up a loop so you've got 3 on your hook. I'm then yarning over, pulling through 2. I'm yarning over and pulling through 2 again, and we've done our treble. We then want to chain 1. Now we need to keep repeating the trebles and the 1 chains as many times as it says in the magazine instructions. I will do a few with you and then I will take a break and meet you at the end, so I'm not filming exactly how many there are. And as I've said before in other videos, that is purely down to copyright. I have not written this pattern, so I cannot give the full pattern away, unfortunately. So we've done 1 so far. We're then chaining over again and in through the centre circle and pulling up a loop. So we've got 3, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1 again, and we've done 2. Yarn over in through the centre, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1, and we've done 3. Yarn over into the centre, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 and chain 1. We've now done 4. Yarn over into the centre, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1. We've done 5 so far of those trebles plus a 1 chain. I'm now going to finish mine off camera. If you do exactly how many it says under the round 1 instructions, I'll meet you at the end of the round and show you how to complete it. So I've just done my last 1 treble plus 1 chain, and I've done exactly the amount that it says that I need to do in the magazine. The last instruction is to do a slip stitch into the first space. So your first space is this one here. You've got your chain stitches that you made on one side and your first treble the other. So we're going in through that gap, we're yarning over and pulling up a loop. So we've got 2 on our hook and then pulling that loop straight through, and you've completed round 1. For round 2, you want to chain 3. So there's 1, 2 and 3. We then want to do 4 trebles into the same space. So that will be the space at the bottom of your chains. This one just here, the one you can see my finger through. So a treble is the same stitch as what we were doing in the last round. So we're yarning over, going into that space, pulling up a loop so we've got 3 on our hook, yarning over, pulling through 2, yarning over, pulling through 2, and we've done 1 treble. And we need to do 4 more. Apologies, we need to do 3 more into that same space. So we've done 1, pull through 2 and pull through 2, and we've done 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, we've done 3, through 2, pull through 2, and we've done 4 into that space. So I've just read on ahead to see how we're doing the popcorn stitches of this square. Popcorn stitches is something that I've done quite often in my life. And this is weird. Like, it's really odd. I don't know if it's just a case of I've not come across this particular popcorn stitch before, but I've never done a stitch where I've had to remove my hook from the stitch that it's currently in. It's really strange. So if you haven't done this stitch before, don't think it's a common thing to do, because I've never done this before. I did have to read the instructions quite a few times. I also had to look at the pictures to make sense of it, because it didn't make sense to me. So if you haven't managed to do this square yet, if it's one that you've put on and put off, if it's one that you've put off and you've moved on ahead to other squares, I completely understand, because it's not clear. But it is quite easy to do once you know how to do it. Now that I've figured it out anyway. So I'm going to go quite up close, hopefully, just to give you a better view. So where our hook is in that stitch at the moment, it's best just to pull that up and raise that a bit so you've got a bit of a loop there and you don't lose it. At the moment, we have got our 3 chains that we made at the beginning. And then we've got 4 trebles. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We want to put our hook into our 3rd chain. So if you count up from your 3 chains on the right hand side, you want to go into your 3rd chain, like so. Once you've done that, you want to put the loop that you've made bigger from your last stitch back onto your hook. And it will look like that with a massive gap in between, because obviously there's stitches in between. You then want to pull this loop on the left through the one on the right, like so. And what that'll do is it will bend those stitches together and make it quite raised. I don't know how, oh, that's definitely not focused. There we go. Can you see that you've got the flat bit here and this one's quite tall, and it has made that popcorn stitch there. Once you've done that, you want to chain 2. So 1 and 2. We're then going to do 5 trebles into the next space. So yarn over, go into your next space between your 2 trebles of the last round. You've got 3 on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. And you've done 1 treble. We're then yarning over back in through that same space, yarning over, pulling through 2, pulling through 2, and we've done 2 trebles. Yarn over into the same space, pull through 2, pull through 2, and we've got 3. Yarning over into your same space, pull through 2, pull through 2, and you've got 4. Yarning over into the space, pull through 2, pull through 2, and you've got your 5. And here is where again you'd make that loop slightly bigger. This time it's different, because rather than having 3 chains on the right and then 4 trebles, this time we've done 5 trebles. So it's just slightly different. And what we're going to do this time is go into the top of our first treble that we've done, which is this stitch here. And again, then put your loop on the left, or the last stitch that you've done, back onto your hook, and then you can pull it through and fold those stitches over again to make your next popcorn stitch, and then we chain 2 again. I'll do one more with you. So yarn over into your next space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and there's your first treble. Into the same space, pull through 2, pull through 2, there's 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, there's 3, pull through 2, pull through 2, there's your 4th, and pull through 2, pull through 2, you've done 5. I'm making that one slightly bigger. I'm then going back in through my first treble, putting that loop back on my hook. I'm then pulling that one through the loop that's already on my hook, and I'm then chaining 2. Now we need to do that going all the way around, so I'm going to do that off camera and I will meet you at the end of the round. So I've gone all the way around and I have this shape now. I've done my last 2 chains after my last popcorn stitch there. And then our next instruction is to do a double crochet into the 3rd chain. So these stitches here were our original chains. We just need to count up 3, which is actually quite difficult, and then go in through there. We're then yarning over and pulling through, so we've got 2 on our hook, yarning over and pulling through 2 again for our double crochet, and we should now have this shape. For round 3 we want to chain 4, so there's 1, 2, 3 and 4. So after those 4 chains we want to do a treble into the same space. So we're yarning over. The same space is the space at the base of our chains. So we're going into that space, pulling up a loop. So we've got 3 on our hook, yarning over and pulling through 2, yarning over and pulling through 2, and we should have this. We then want to do 3 trebles into each of the next 2 spaces. So we're going to start to form a square now as we're doing different things into each space by the looks of things. So yarn over and we're doing 3 trebles into our next space along. So go in through that one, pull up a loop, you've got 3 on your hook. Yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and you've done your first treble. Then we need to do another 2 and another. There's 3. We're going to repeat the same into the next space. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Into our next space, it's going to be slightly different. So you want to start off with 1 treble into that space. So pull through 2 and pull through 2. After that, we want to do a double treble into that same space. So yarn over twice into the space, pull up a loop so you've got 4 on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. You then want to chain 2, 1 and 2. We're then going to do another double treble. So yarn over twice into that same space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and then another treble into that space. We're then going to do 3 trebles into each of the next 2 spaces. So there's 1, 2 and 3, and in the next one 1, 2 and 3, and then we've come to what will be our next corner. So we need to repeat what we've done on this one, which is go into that space, and we're doing a treble to begin with, and then a double treble. So yarn over twice into the space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. We then want to chain 2, 1 and 2, another double treble, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and then one more treble. So you can see we've got our square starting to form. We've got one side here and one side here. You just need to repeat that pattern for the next 2 sides. So you're doing 3 trebles, then 3 trebles. In the next space is 1 treble, 1 double treble, 2 chains, 1 double treble, 1 treble, and then you'd move on and do your 3 trebles and your 3 trebles again. So if you go with that one all the way around, I will meet you at this final corner just here and show you how to finish that round off. So I've just come to my last corner of round 3. When you get to the last space, you want to do a treble. So be yarning over and going into that space, pulling up a loop, yarning over, pull through 2, pull through 2. We then want to do a double treble into that space. So yarn over twice, into the space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We then want to chain 1, and then we want to join with a double crochet into the 4th chain. So our 4 chains are here. We've got 1, 2, 3 and 4. So we want to go in through that space, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both loops, and then we have finished the end of round, sorry, I just shook the lights by accident. We've finished the end of round 3. For round 4, we're chaining 3. 1, 2, 3. Into your corner space, we want to do 2 trebles. So yarn over into the corner, pull through 2 and pull through 2. We're doing the same thing again into that space, pull through 2 and pull through 2. After your trebles, you want to do 3 trebles into each of the next 3 spaces. And so we've got a space here, we've got one here, and we've got one here. So we want to do 3 trebles into each of those spaces. So yarn over and into your first space, pull through 2, and pull through 2 for our first treble, pull through 2, pull through 2, there's our second, pull through 2, pull through 2, and there's your third. So it's going to look like this, which is kind of a basic granny square as we know it. So we're going into the next space and doing 3 trebles again. So I've done 1, 2 and 3, and then I'm going to repeat the same thing into the next space. So I've got 1, 2 and 3, and now I'm at my first corner. For the corner, we're going to do 3 trebles, 2 chains, 3 trebles. So yarn over and into the space, yarn over, pull through 2 and pull through 2 for your first treble, and we need to do 2 more. So there's 1 and 2, so I've done 3. I'm then going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and then I want to do 3 more trebles into that space. 1, 2 and 3. I'll do the next side with you. 3 trebles into each of the next 3 spaces. So you're going into your next space again, and we're doing 1, 2 and 3 trebles into our first space. Go into your next space. 1, 2 and 3, and I've done 3 trebles into my second space, and then into the last one there's 1, 2 and 3. So I've got 3 trebles in there, and I'm at my next corner, so I'm going to go into that one and do another 3 trebles. So 1, 2 and 3, and then going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and then do another 3 trebles into that space. 1, 2 and 3. So if you continue with that going around, it's 3 trebles in every space, and then in the corners it's 3 trebles, 2 chains, 3 trebles. I will meet you at the end of the round. So I'm at the last corner of round 4. I want to do 3 trebles into the corner space. So yarn over and into your space. I'll try that again. Pull through 2, pull through 2, there's 1 treble, 2 and 3. We now want to do 1 chain. We're then going to join with a double crochet into the 3rd chain. So your chains are here, how you started off, so 1, 2 and 3. I'm going to go in through that chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, and you've completed round 4. For round 5 we're chaining 3, 1, 2 and 3. So this round is a bit different to the other rounds that we've done because we're going to be skipping stitches, and we're also doing half trebles in this round. So you've done your 3 chains. We then want to yarn over, and we're going to skip the first stitch, which is the chains of the previous round, and we're going into this one here. So we're going in through and pulling up a loop, so you have 3 loops on your hook. We're yarning over and pulling through all 3 loops for your half treble. We're then going to chain 1. We would then skip a stitch and go into the next with another half treble. So yarn over, skip this one, go into your next stitch, pull up a loop, you've got 3 on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3, and then we're chaining 1 again, and we need to keep repeating that. So we're missing the next stitch and going in the one after, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 and chain 1, yarn over, skip your next stitch, go into the one after, pull up a loop, so you've got 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3, chain 1, yarn over, skip your next stitch, go into the one after, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, chain 1, yarn over, skip a stitch, into the one after, pull through all 3, chain 1, yarn over, skip a stitch, into your next, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, chain 1, So we've now done that 7 times as the pattern asks. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and we've done 1 chain after the last half treble, and we're now working into the corner space. So we're doing 1 half treble, so into that space, yarn over and pull through all 3, chain 2, 1 and 2, another half treble into that space, yarn over, pull through all 3, and we're then chaining 1. We're then continuing with the same pattern that we did on this side. So yarn over, skip that next stitch just here, and we're going into the one after. So pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3, chain 1. Yarn over, skip a stitch and into the next, pull up a loop, yarn over, chain 1. Yarn over, skip a stitch and into the next, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, chain 1, yarn over, skip a stitch and into the next, yarn over, pull through all 3, chain 1, yarn over, skip a stitch and into the next. Just continue until you've got 7 on this side as well. This should be my last one. Oh, I did that a bit wrong. My wool got caught. Just count those back. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, which is exactly how many I want. And now I can go into my corner space again. So I'm doing 1 half treble, then 2 chains, 1 half treble, and then chain 1, which looks like this. So you can continue that while I go off camera and go around the rest of the square. Remember to skip your first stitch, go into the next with your half treble, chain 1, skip a stitch. Into your corners, you are doing 1 half treble, 2 chains, 1 half treble, and then 1 chain before skipping a stitch and going on to your next half treble. I will meet you at the end of the round. So now I'm at the end of the round. I want to do a half treble into the corner space. So I'm yarning over, and our corner space is actually in here. It was quite difficult to see that one. So I'm going in through here, pulling up a loop and pulling through all 3. I then want to chain 1, and I'm then going to join with a double crochet into the second chain. So I've got my chains here. I'm going to go in through that one, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. And now my square looks like this. Moving on to round 6, and there's 2 more rounds in the hibiscus yarn before we move on to the white. I'm chaining 1, and I want to do 2 double crochets into the corner space. The corner space is here, so I want to, oh, I've just knocked the wool out of the way. Going in through that space, pulling up a loop, so I've got 2 on my hook, yarning over and pulling through both. And then going back in through that space and repeating that stitch again, so I've got 2 double crochets into that corner space. You then want to do 2 double crochets into each of the next 8 spaces. So I'm going into the next space, there's 1 double crochet and 2, next space, 1 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 and 2, then 1 and 2, next space, 1 and 2, then 1 and 2, And I'm at my next corner, or first corner I should say. Into that corner you want to do 2 double crochets, 2 chains and 2 double crochets. So there's 1 and 2, I'm chaining 2, 1 and 2, and then into the same space I'm doing another 2 double crochets. So this round is pretty simple. It's 2 double crochets into every space, and then the corners are 2 double crochets, 2 chains, 2 double crochets. I'll meet you at the end of the round. At your final corner for round 6, there's a mistake in the pattern. It says to do 2 half trebles. You don't need to, you need to do 2 double crochets. So I'm going into that space, pulling up a loop. There's 1 and 2. I'm then chaining 1. And you want to do a double crochet into your first double crochet. So we're actually going into the top of the stitch here for a change, pulling up a loop, yarning over and pulling through both, and there's the end of round 6. We're now on to round 7, which is the last round in the hibiscus colour before we add the border. We want to chain 2, so 1 and 2. We then want to do a half treble into each of the next amount of stitches that there are. Again, I can't tell you exactly how many there are due to copyright, but I will do a few with you before we move on to the next corner. So we're doing half trebles again, so we're yarning over and then we're going into our first stitch, pulling up a loop, so we've got 3 on our hook, yarning over again, pulling through 3, then yarn over into your next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3, and we've done 2. Into your next, there's 3, yarn over into your next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, there's 4, yarn over into your next stitch, yarn over, pull through 3, and there's 5. So continue in every stitch. The magazine will tell you exactly how many there are. I will meet you at the first corner. So at your first corner for round 7, remember we're not working into this big gap that you can see that I'm sticking my finger through, because that is round 5. We want to work into round 6, which are these short stitches round here. And if you pull on both sides, you will see a small gap between those stitches here. So if I put my hook through, we're going in through here. Or if I put it from underneath, we're going in through that space, just there. So I hope you can see that one. Into the corner space, we're doing 1 half treble, 2 chains, 1 half treble. So if you yarn over into that space, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. We're chaining 2, 1 and 2, and then we're doing another half treble into the corner space. We're then continuing with our half trebles along. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Continue along with your half trebles. Again, the magazine tells you exactly how many you need on each side under round 7. You're then doing 1 half treble, 2 chains, 1 half treble into each corner. I'll meet you at the end of the round. So I'm at my final corner for round 7. I'm doing 1 half treble into the corner space. I'm then chaining 2, 1 and 2, and I'm then joining with a slip stitch into my second chain, which is here, and I can now fasten that one off because that is the end of working with the hibiscus. I think it looks really pretty. I actually quite like this square. It seems to be on the small side, so we might have to adjust the border slightly, but I'm just going to do some measuring up and I'll make a decision on what we will need to do for the border in a second. I've got an old square just here, and I just thought I'd measure up. I thought our square was on the small side, but actually it doesn't look like it is, because if I place that one on top, it seems to be pretty much exactly the same size as that square before adding the border. So I think we should be fine just adding on the border as it says in the book. So you can go ahead and join yarn B, the white, to any of your corner spaces. It doesn't matter which one, and I've already gone ahead and done so. After that, you want to chain 2. 1 and 2. After you've chained 2, you want to do a half treble into each of the next 10 stitches. So I'm yarning over. I'm going into my first stitch, pulling up a loop, so I've got 3 on my hook, yarning over and pulling through 3, and I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We then want to do 2 half trebles into the next stitch. So yarn over into your next stitch. There's 1 half treble in that stitch, and we're then going to go into the same stitch with that half treble. We then want to do a half treble into each of the next 11 stitches. So we're going into the next stitch. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. We're at our first corner. Into the corners we're doing 1 half treble, 2 chain, 1 half treble. So into your corner space, pull up a loop. There's 1 half treble, chain 2, and 1 half treble. So for your next few sides, you're doing half treble into the next 10 stitches, 2 half trebles into the next stitch, a half treble into the next 11 stitches, and then your corners are 1 half treble, 2 chains, 1 half treble. I will meet you at the end of the round. So final corner, 1 half treble into the space, 2 chains, 1 slip stitch into your second chain from the start, and we are done. You can pull that one and you can then fasten that one off. So I've cut my yarn, and there we have it. That is your Donald and Daisy pink popcorn square. I'm just getting the magazine to compare it to, and there we go. We've managed to complete this one and do this one. So I hope you've enjoyed that square. I really did. I think it looks lovely, and it's quite nice that it's the right size that it's supposed to be, because I really did think it was really small. So if you've enjoyed this one, please leave a like on the video. As I always say, if you wish to, please leave a comment down below, because it's lovely to hear from all of you. And if you wish to subscribe to the channel, you will get notifications when I post videos. which, as I said at the start of the video, I am going to be doing other patterns now, as well as the Hachette Disney crochet series. So if you do subscribe to me, you will get the notifications for the other patterns as well, the ones that I've written myself, the ones that I won't necessarily post into the Facebook groups, to give you the links to these videos. Now, I have got an idea in mind of something else to do with the character squares that we've made. So I will be talking about this in the groups relatively soon. I would like to try and create some sort of cardigan or jumper with the character squares. So I'll be putting a few ideas forward. So if you wish to have a look for those groups on Facebook, I think there's one official one run by Hachette Disney Crochet, and then there's another one which I should know the name of as I'm admin of it, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But there's a picture of the blanket as the cover photo in that group. So if you do request to join that one, it would be lovely to see you, and we can then talk about other ideas of what we can do with the squares going forward. And that is not saying that we will use this, I'm not saying I will use the squares that I've already made and use them, because these are for the blanket, and obviously that's what we've planned to do all along. I'm talking about actually remaking the squares in a slightly different way and figuring out different sizes to fit different cardigans, different jumpers, different sizes of people, etc, etc. So I hope you've really enjoyed this video, and I guess I shall see you in the next one, which will be issue 31. I'll see you then.